Steve, you're not. Whoa,
go ahead,
on,
Ford.
Steve.
Go ahead.
Both parties are.
Go ahead.
Both parties are culpable in this. Okay. The difference is now, finally, I'm a conservative. Finally, the Republicans have actually stood up and drawn the line in the sand. Look.
You're half right, Ford. Both parties have been spending. The problem is Democrats have wanted to pay for it by taxes. And what's happened every single time a Democrat has said, listen, we've got to pay for what we're spending. Republicans are like, oh, no, look at it. It's Democrats. They want to tax and spend. They want to tax and spend. No, they don't want to tax and spend. They want to balance the budget. And you guys have been stopping us in every state and the federal government for the last 30 to 40 years. So it's not true that both parties are equally culpable. One party has tried to pay things like that. And the reason they were bringing that up was because, geologically speaking, it was about time. Every 50 or 70,000 years, you typically have an ice age, which actually makes it all the more surprising that we're seeing global warming at this point. We should be seeing cooling. We're not seeing cooling.
All right, I'm questioning the data, number one, because we're not sure. I think the warmest year on record.
Well, I think for one thing, I'm really surprised. I actually agree with Gary here. I don't think I've ever agreed with him on anything. But what we're really talking about, if we take away these pension payments, most of these people who are receiving these are getting between $25,000 and $35,000 a year. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to cut anything from a retiree, 70, 80, or 90 years old, getting $25,000 to $35,000 a year. Right. Okay, that's appalling. There's a very small percentage of people who are actually getting the big bucks. Most of them are actually firemen and police officers. They've got an extra benefit where they can get a higher pension. Okay, which I think is totally fine. Right. I think it's appalling to try to take money away from some of these pensions.
Was heckled by a Code Pink member, and that became a big scene with fake blood, the blood of millions of Iraqis in your hands. Then it was a proper use of protest and a free American right. All I'm saying is what's good for the goose should be good for the gander, right?
Well, no, if they want to go and they want to protest one of Pelosi's speeches, if they want to go to a hearing on health care on the Hill, they want to try to disrupt that. Now, they have to realize they're probably going to be arrested, like these folks are being arrested that you're showing. That's okay. Don't disrupt other Americans' opportunities to be heard.
And we have a right to debate and disagree with any administration.
She didn't sound calm.
No, she didn't. And I happen to agree with her. And I don't think that's I don't think that's a conflict with what I'm saying here about the town hall forums. Absolutely. And I'll tell you again, Neil, I want to reiterate the point. If somebody tried to arrest these folks or try to pass a law saying they couldn't do it, then all of a sudden I would have to
when people do this. You know, high taxes for anything it's going to destroy, and it's not anti-competitive.
A great example, Steve, small businesses. I mean, if you file as an LLC, you're going to be paying higher taxes come next year. That's another reason to leave the country.
Well, one thing I agree with Wayne about is that Steve Wynn is a really bright guy. But it's funny that the week that he chose to make this statement is the week that Gallup came out with a report that said 1.5 million people who were either unemployed or underemployed got jobs in the last 30 years.
On their health care benefits.
I don't know, Steve. Unions have been supporting national health care long before there was any talk about taxing health benefits.
Yeah, I mean, they've been at the forefront for the national health care fight for the last 30 or 40 years. And the real reason, by the way, that this tax benefit would be shown to them is they've got these multi-year collective bargaining agreements where they've already given up significant amounts of pay to get a good benefit package, to get a good health care package. So if you take that away from them, now you're saying, okay, we're going to tax you, or you're going to take even more pay away from these folks. And you know, it's just not fair. I mean,
they had it back. That was the reason. But actually, 11 of 12 of them, Steve, did leave early, even after prepaying for all of the rooms and all this. So hold on, I'm going to Steve. Steve?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to excuse. Some of this is absolutely unexcusable. But to a point that's not brought up, you know, people talked about the $300 a night hotel room. You can't put 12 Congress people in a low-price motel. I mean, for one thing, they're not. The nicer hotels are equipped to handle the security concerns of these people. Let's not forget, 12 U.S. congressmen traveling overseas are an exquisite target for al-Qaeda and other people.
He's an editor for opednews.com. He's been following the goings-on today, just as I have. Steve, what do you make of that presentation, that speech by Governor Palin? Right off the top of your head, what do you say?
Well, first of all, it's a shocking announcement. This is something that I don't think anybody expected. I only found out about this half an hour ago, and I'm really surprised that this is something that she would do.
Now, full disclosure, you are an opponent of Sarah Palin. You do not like her policies, and you did not like her candidacy in 2008.
I'll go further. I've been very hard on her in some of the articles that I wrote. But one of the things that struck me when I saw this is that, you know, all of us, the politicians, the pundits, we're all human beings. And if there's something going on in her personal life or there's some sort of problem, that I wish her the best. And I hope.
Do you think she buckled to pressure?
I'm not willing to go that far yet. But here's something that I will say. If this is a ploy, like Mr. Kristol was suggesting, this is going to fail. It's going to fail, just like McCain suspending his campaign supposedly because of the economic crisis.
Right. Why?
No one outside of those people who support her would be impressed by this. I mean, as a matter of fact, in Alaska itself, there are a bunch of hardy folks out there. They stay the course, okay? These are folks who are tough. And if the narrative going forward into a presidential race is that she quit 2.5 years in, I don't think that plays for her.
It may be that Alaska is in better...
Or might not have, I don't know. But a few days later, voila, bone proceed.
Well, without Elmendorf's statements, I would say, you know what, you guys have to ask some questions. We in the media have to ask some questions. But I think he laid it to rest pretty well with what he said.
Did you understand what he said?
Oh, absolutely.
Really? Well, you're smart. You are smart.
So are you.
All right. Well, Steve, but I have to wear a tie, Steve. You're getting it done without one. So I applaud you for that. Always good seeing you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
But we're not doing anything to actually manufacture them here in the United States.
Steve, the manufacturing, the union costs here in this country do make it cost prohibitive.
Well, one of the things that report said is if we make the necessary investments in infrastructure in terms of places where you can actually plug in and refuel these electric cars, the amount of jobs that will be created in the U.S. will go from about 125,000 to 250,000.